After getting selected in the 5th round by the Browns, Shedeur brought his Louis to Hyde Lounge in Dallas. Celebrated with Kodak Black, Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb. We're also in attendance. I'll say this, Dan Graziano and Jason McCourty, my man Shedeur knows how to have some fun. Who cares where he's been drafted? And we saw that over the weekend. Dan, you and I were on Get Up all last week, and we were talking about this. We didn't know what the drama would unfold like after we left on Friday morning. Here we are on Monday. What are the reasons? What have you heard of the reasons behind Shedeur Sanders falling to the 5th?
There are some reasons. There are some theories. It's a big combination. Excuse me, I have hiccups. A big combination of things that caused Shedeur Sanders to slide from where we thought he might go all the way to the 5th round. So, number one, teams did not view him as an elite prospect. I think other than Cam Ward, there really weren't any quarterbacks in this year's draft that teams did view as an elite prospect. So you have to do something to separate yourself. Now, he had some very positive meetings with teams. He had some that didn't go so well. And I think there was a sense of, is Deion trying to control this situation? Are they trying to steer away from certain teams towards some teams? I think there was a feeling that, given what comes with him, if we're not sure he's going to be more than a backup for us, then we're not sure we want to take him because we don't want a circus following our backup around. And Matt, I think it just really kind of snowballed throughout the 3 days to the point where, teams that had even been thinking about taking him had moved past it.
Graz, some might say that Shedeur had a hiccup in the pre-draft process.
It's not funny. It's a serious affliction. It causes problems.
Yeah, no. There's a lot of serious afflictions going around, especially in Cleveland with what they're going to do at quarterback.
Yeah.
So how do you believe, we were just talking about during the break, how do you feel about his fit in Cleveland?
I mean, he slides to the 5th round, but it's like at the same time, this might have been the best situation for him because he goes to Cleveland, who doesn't have a surefire starter at the quarterback position. There's going to be 4 guys, including Dillon Gabriel, who he was drafted with, Kenny Pickett, and then Joe Flacco. Shedeur Sanders can walk into Berea, Ohio, and walk out of there as the starting quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. In year 1, you have to believe he'll get a chance to compete with those guys. So although draft day was one that won't be remembered in a sense of sliding down, he got to party after, you get your name called, and he gets to learn under Kevin Stefanski and a chance to earn that spot.
We've seen this numerous places, the most famous one obviously being Tom Brady, but most recently Dak Prescott. He was a 4th round draft pick. It doesn't matter where you get drafted. It matters that you get drafted.
The fact that you get your name called on draft day and you get to live out a dream and have your family celebrate and do everything that Shedeur Sanders was able to do was fantastic. There were so many guys that didn't get their name called this past weekend that signed to teams that are going in with the mindset to make a football team. He's going to have to do the same, improve all the doubters and naysayers wrong. It's actually a good way to start off, a chip on your shoulder.
Graz, speaking of Sanders, he was one of the few prospects who got prank calls while waiting to get drafted. This is just kind of an unfortunate, bizarre story. How is the league responding to this?
Well, they're looking into it because what happened is he got a special phone just for draft day and gave that number to the NFL so the NFL could disseminate it to teams. And it's not supposed to leak out, obviously, and it did. And we find out that it's the son of the defensive coordinator of the Falcons that saw it on his dad's iPad or whatever and decided to write it down and make a prank call. So they figured that one out. But other guys got prank called. It has happened in years past. It's obviously a terrible and stupid thing to do to somebody, but we live in terrible and stupid times, and so these things are...
That was one of the best moments from the NFL draft. We say hello to the man now from that moment, Packers wide receiver Matthew Golden. He joined us on behalf of Tide for their Laundry Day NFL draft activation. First of all, Matthew, congratulations. I know you loved looking back at that. What have the past few days been like for you and your family?
Man, it's been a blessing, still trying to take it all in. We all excited for the opportunity that's in front of me. I work so hard to get here. So, we definitely excited.
When the NFL decided to move the draft from New York City and bounce it around to different NFL locations, they had that moment in mind right there when the home team gets to draft their player. Can you describe that energy when you heard your name called, walking through that tunnel, waving that green and gold in front of their fans?
Yeah, man, it was truly remarkable. It's a feeling I can't even explain. Just being out there, listening to the crowd and then walking the stage, man, it was something I dreamed of doing since I was younger. So being able to do it, it was definitely cool for me.
So your suit, it was very eye-catching. we asked you about your chain. You said it's downstairs. Can you tell me more about the motivation of the suit?
Yeah, the motivation of the suit, you know, my last name is Golden. So, you know, I wanted to do something that represented that. And the dude that made it, I just told him I wanted some gold designs on it. So he custom made it for me. And he did a great job with it. So props to my guy, Ethan, for, you know, making me look good on TV.
Yeah, let me say this, Matthew. Ethan actually nailed the assignment, which was make my suit golden. He did just that, and everyone watching the draft got to see it. On the football side of things, what does it mean to you to be a Green Bay Packer?
You know, it means everything to me. You know, I feel like everything, you know, the way it was set up, God put me in this position for a reason. You know, at the draft, you know, I was just anxious to get my name called. You know, I was just waiting. And, you know, I feel like it happened at the right time. Been waiting on this opportunity my whole life. You know, everything I did leading up to this since I was younger was for this opportunity here. So now that I'm here, you know, I'm ready to get to work, and I'm excited to be able to put on that goal.
I love asking players this after the fact because they don't let on too much prior to the draft, but now that you've been drafted by the Packers, did you have any indication whatsoever prior to the phone call that maybe you could end up in Green Bay?
I definitely didn't. You know, on draft day, you know, anything could happen. So just knowing that I could have got my name called anywhere. And for it to be in Green Bay was definitely the best feeling. You know, I didn't have to travel anywhere. I was right at home. Felt like I was right at home.
Having said that, now you know the team you're playing for. How do you believe you fit in with Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love's offense?
Definitely explosiveness. You know, anywhere on the field I can get open. So whatever they need me to do, that's what I'm willing to do. I'm a playmaker, and, you know, I'm a very reliable target. Critical situations, you know, big-time moments, that's when I show up. So just having that mentality to go get it, and then just doing whatever they need me to do.
All right, so you see there in the burnt orange, you're wearing number 2. I want to discuss this much-discussed jersey number switch situation. You started at 81. You switched to 22. Walk me through what happened with all of this.
Yeah, so definitely wanted to get number 22. You know, it just made more sense for me. Going into this year, I will be 22, playing my first NFL college career. And then the 2 stands for, you know, when I was 2, you know, that's when my great-grandma died, but she always wanted me to represent the number 2. You know, that was her favorite number, and that's something that's always stuck with me. And then going back to all of that, you know, the last time they did draft a receiver was 2002. So I feel like all of that just made sense for me, and it definitely got a lot of meaning behind it. So I got to go out there and represent for that number.
Yeah, I love that, especially the story about your great-grandmother. We know family's important to you. So having said that, what's the one thing you want to do for your family once you get that first NFL contract?
Yeah. I definitely want to get the property that we lost a couple years ago when I was younger. You know, that's where I grew up. That's where all my family grew up, man. And, you know, it's just too many memories back there. I feel like that's where it all started for me as far as playing football and everything. So just definitely